You took everything from me.
I don't even know who you are.
Alright, now we've got most lanes covered. Mid, done. Jungle, check. Top, already forgot all about it. But there is one lane left. The bottom lane. This lane, however, is a bit of a special case, because it's split into two roles. The bot laner and the support. The dream team. Alone, they are weak. Together, they are, I don't know, supposedly not weak? I haven't experienced that yet. So basically, this video here will be sort of a part 1 out of 2. And we're starting with a support role. Wish me luck, because I'll definitely need it. So, as briefly mentioned, you as a support are part of a team here. Basically, you're glued together with the bot laner slash the AD carry. Both of your jobs are rather simple. The ADC gets all the kills, all the farm and all the glory. And you? Help them accomplish that. Yeah, I'm not kidding when I say you are the side character around here. But, don't get me wrong, supporting is very important. And it can often be very fun. The primary job of an ADC is to deal damage. So that's pretty much all that they build and all that their abilities focus on. Which means that they are pretty weak as far as everything else is concerned. And that's where you come in. Your very presence helps enhance the ADC experience. And this can be done in many ways. It all depends on what champ you pick. Need a tank? There are supports for that. Need healing, movement speed, shields or other enhancements? There are supports for that too. Need a shit ton of burst damage that one-shots enemies before the ADC can even lift a finger? Yeah, it pains me to say that there are indeed supports for that too. But let's rewind for a little bit. When playing a support, you always buy one of these support items. And these gadgets are pretty neat. Remember how it's your buddy the ADC who gets to kill all the champions and minions. The drawback to that is that you yourself are left with very little gold. But the support items help you a little with that, because it allows you to simply get gold by poking enemies. Or better yet, allows you to sometimes kill minions without getting flamed by the ADC. It's like magic. But make sure to always have a blue charge up so you don't just steal farm from the ADC. Getting gold is great even if you play a support. But if you gotta take it from the rest of your team in order to get it, then it's just not worth it. Supports can do their primary tasks pretty well without getting a ton of gold. Besides, you wanna do all that you can in order to avoid getting flamed. I tell you, as a support, you gotta take great care not to piss off your team. You'd be surprised of the mental gymnastics other roles would partake in order to circle around to the conclusion that anything that went wrong was indeed the support's fault. For the love of God, don't give them more reasons to flame you. After you have earned 500 gold with the item, you will be able to more easily commit to one of your primary support tasks. Placing wards. Great stuff. At this point, an Oracle Lens is also a very good investment for a cheap price of 0 gold. Extreme Vision Control gameplay is now online. Using these tools in order to get vision for your team is pretty much the most important side quest of the support role. If your ADC don't currently need you, then it can be a good idea to just go on an adventure and ward some bushes. Maybe there's an objective soon that you gotta prepare for. Wards. Maybe your jungle is looking kinda dark. More wards. Maybe use a sweeper too, or place a control ward somewhere. It's always good to be able to better see where your enemies are. With good vision around the map, you can more easily ambush enemies and avoid having them ambush you. And buying some control wards every now and then can't hurt. Well, unless you place them down and your enemies just find them instantly. I do this far too often, and it's basically just like spending 75 gold in order to give your enemies 30 gold. Which is a nice gesture, but maybe one that's better saved for Christmas. Since you as the support won't earn as much gold as, let's say, the main character, there are a lot of items in the shop that are a bit cheaper to buy, but that are also a little bit weaker than the rest. But you know, a little bit weaker than the rest could basically be the slogan of the support role, so we might as well just roll with it at this point. There are some supports, however, that are pretty much expected to build carry items. Brand pretty much needs Leandris, Lux almost always builds Ludens, and rare are the games where Senna doesn't build Eclipse, Yomus or some other similar bullshit. Ah, support by the way. Before I started to play League, my idea of a support was basically how healers worked in Overwatch or World of Warcraft. And they simply, well, healed. Or gave shields or buffs. Basically like enchanters in League. But in this game, there are also tanks and just straight up DPS champions in the support role. So it's definitely a pretty versatile role to main. Which makes it pretty alright to play in my humble opinion. But while playing support, there is one thing you must always consider. You are pretty vulnerable on your own, which, incidentally, also makes it very easy to blame stuff on you. In laning phase, it's therefore very important that you play in sync with your ADC. Like for example, don't engage in fights if the ADC is too far back, and certainly don't let your ADC engage in fights without you. Behavior like that is just begging for the guy to flame you and to then instantly start trolling. So, I don't know, instead just try to look at how your ADC is playing. If he seems ready for a fight, then he probably is. And then you can try to get some CC or whatever going towards your enemies. But the one truly great bot lane strat is to play the lane together with a friend, assuming that sort of thing exists. One of you plays ADC and the other plays support. Sitting in Discord and, you know, talking? I don't know, I've heard things like that makes team play easier or something. Alternatively, you can just do what I usually do while playing duo bot and just sit in complete silence despite the fact that my ADC friend is right there beside me in the Discord call. There is a sort of pitfall that I feel like many players fall into regarding the support role. Now, I don't want this to come off as if maining support is a bad thing, because it's definitely not. But when you first get into League, you might experience that the game is overwhelming and that support feels a bit easier than other roles. And you know, in some ways it is, and in others it isn't. But the main thing is that it's definitely different from other roles. And if you start off your League career by strictly playing support, then all other lanes will become very hard to get into later. And you know, you might miss out on some or a lot of the fun that the game has to offer. And again, not to say that supporting isn't fun. As we've discovered, it is a very divisive role when it comes to playstyles. And I can't stress this enough. Supporting is important. Your bot laner might not admit it, they might not say thank you or a good job, but they need you, and deep down they know it. Now, I personally don't often like to play neither support nor ADC with randoms, but if I play bot pre-made, it can be some of the most fun I have in the entire game, even if I am a side character. But I guess seeing a random drafted bot main mauled is also its own kind of fun. Either way, you should definitely try to convince one of your pals to play bot lane with you. And if they don't perform as well as you do on support, then just make them watch the next video where I will cover the ADC role. I will see ya then.